Another day, another DeFi disaster. Now, this isn't to say all DeFi projects are bad. Most are good projects, some of which I've covered on my channel. And with the project I'm going to cover today, yield nodes, we're not even sure how underwater they are at the moment. But there do appear to be some problems. And so in today's video, I'm going to discuss exactly what went wrong with yield nodes, what the warning signs were, can they recover from this, because then all this will help us better evaluate DeFi projects going forward and more accurately pick the winners. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, drop a comment down below, let me know what you think of this project, can they recover, and without further ado, let's begin. So, yield nodes. They brand themselves as profitable and proven crisis safe. They're a DeFi project that was founded in late 2019, so they've been around a while. This isn't like 6 months old, this is 3 years old. They do not have a token. They are just a DeFi project in the sense that you invest their money in them, and then they take your money, invest it in other things, which should earn a high rate of return. So then you earn an individual high rate of return on your money that you give them. As is the case with most DeFi projects, not your keys, not your crypto. You can only withdraw the money if certain conditions are met that we'll get to in a sec. I first came across this project about a week ago because a lot of, the crisis started then, we'll get into in a sec, but a lot of influencers were doing videos on this project and they were getting a lot of traction. So I figured this project really has a lot of buzz. This guy here, James Pelton, he does pretty good videos. He got 21,000 views on this video. He usually gets like 2,000 or 3,000 views. This person, Fire Hustle, she usually gets like 1,000-2,000 views. She was getting 8,000-11,000 views in the videos. So this project really has a lot of underground buzz, even though the mainstream crypto media publications like Cointelegraph, CoinDesk don't seem to cover it too much. Perfect for a YouTube video, essentially. So, yield nodes, what is it exactly and how does it work? Well, let's watch this little 20-second video to get a better idea.
Yield Nodes is a node rental program where revenue is generated through a combination of master nodes, price gains, and services that work hand in hand in their own ecosystem. Since launching, the project has expanded through its own listed token, its own decentralized exchange, and a crypto shopping platform. There are also several partnerships in progress. Yield Nodes has been operating between 2,000 and 4,000.
So there we go. So as I understand it, so you invest your money and then they reinvest it. They reinvest it in mostly crypto-related things. It seems they specialize in reinvesting it in master nodes, which, as I understand, as I've covered in the show, a node on each network when a transaction, so when coins are sent from one person to another on that network, it runs through a node operator, and then a certain number of node operators need to approve the transaction for it to officially go through. They approve it by making sure the address is right, the amount sent is right, it's not a double spend, etc. Usually about 5 to 10 node operators need to approve to get a collective consensus and the transaction goes through. And then, as I understand it, master nodes, they're sort of like the supervisors of the nodes. The master nodes have increased responsibilities. They watch over the node operators. They make sure all the node operators are operating correctly, and then they earn an even higher fee on each transaction than the individual node operators under them receive. So I guess their competitive advantage is that not everyone can run a master node. You need to have a certain amount of money of that coin to be able to buy in and own the master node. And since since yield nodes has a lot of money coming in, they're sort of cash rich in individual cryptos. They do have the power to buy and run master nodes. So at this point, the project does kind of make sense. Now let's get into the investment details. So if you want to buy into this here, invest your money, it's a minimum 500 euros, maximum 250,000 euros. It's about minimum sort of 450 USD to 240,000 USD. It's about a 95% conversion rate. Your initial investment is locked for 6 months. This is important here. So you cannot withdraw any of your money for 6 months. If you do, there's a 25% early withdrawal fee. So that's big. That's not like a 5-10% early withdrawal fee. That's 25%. Now the returns. So the average returns are 5 to 15% per month. So, usually you see about, 5 to 15%. You think, okay, per year, that's, realistic, but maybe not as exciting as I want. Then you think per quarter. Okay, so that averages out to 20 to 40% per quarter, which, as we learned in Celsius, is still kind of high and at times unrealistic, but at least it's more exciting. But then 5 to 15% per month, that's enormous, almost to the point that it raises red flags. It's an average of 10% per month, meaning 120% per year. So is that sustainable? Basically, these returns they work well when the whole market's going up, but then when the market is moving sideways or down, it's just very difficult to sustain this. Their lowest month on record, so every single month's been profitable. That's what's amazing about this project. In 3 full years, 5.2% is their lowest monthly return, February of 2020, and 19.2% is their highest monthly return in February of 2021. If the yield drops below 5% for 3 consecutive months, your payment is returned along with any rewards, meaning profits that you've earned. And that has not happened yet until last week in the implosion. We'll go over in a sec. So returns on an annual basis, it's 120% without compounding, meaning if you take your profits out each month, and it's 213% annualized return with compounding, meaning if you keep your profits in each month and reinvest them. And then here's the returns compared to Bitcoin and the S&P. So the yield on those returns with compounding is vastly outperforming everything else. And then without compounding, it looks like it's about equal to Bitcoin, sort of more steady, sort of outperforming it. And then both with and without compounding, it is vastly outperforming stocks and gold, that line in the blue right there. And then here's their monthly, here are the monthly returns just mapped out. As I said, every single month is in the positive. Here's the peak month, 19%, February 2021. So during the bull market, all these returns are realistic. That makes sense. But then here's where it sort of gets a little sort of fishy, you could say. Obviously, the last 6 months, 2022, has been a bear market, but every single monthly return is still positive. April, 8%. June, that was a horrendous month, up 6%. 9% in July, that was again a weak month. And then up till now, 6% 2 months ago, and then last month, 5%. So there's been, according to this chart, no signs of problems whatsoever. And then mapped out in terms of your total dollar amounts of returns, not percentage, if you put $1,000 in and then kept everything in compounding, then after 1 year, the $1,000 would be $3,100. And after 2 years, the $1,000 would be about $10,000. So 1 year, it's about a 2x return. Total compounding, 2 years, it's about a 10x return. So good returns, very high, raises some red flags, but not like so much so that it's like, okay, this is an instant no. Now, obviously with these things, audits are big. Audits are big to make sure that the returns that you're seeing right here are, more than returns just on a sheet of paper and are actually legit, as in they have the money, and then the returns on the investments that they have put their coins into are actually generating these returns. So they've done 3 audits. This sounds good, right? First audit, February 2021, second, November 2021, and the third one, July 2022. Okay, sounds good so far. The team did videos going over the audit results. That looks good. This most recent audit in July 2022, they found that they have roughly that the total value of their investments is 32% higher than so basically the returns of their investments 32% higher than the actual deposits. So this looks great right now. They are over collateralized by 30%, meaning if they theoretically went under, then not only would everyone be able to be paid out, but there would be 30% left over on top of that. Sounds like no problems whatsoever. But this is when the problems start. This is all very recent. All this happened within the last week. So then with the audits from July 22, they say, this is what their official notes said. The audit took place, results were favorable, 10 people were invited, and we revealed that all of them were on the same page in concluding that Yield Nodes was solvent and in good standing. Right below that, in the fine print, important, the invitees are not professional accountants or official auditors. They're regular people and members of the community, so neither they nor we claim to hold any accreditation in that field. That's not good. So not only are they not even official auditors, they're basically just members of the community that were invited. They kind of, they're already a fan of the project, so when the founders just showed them, okay, here's our assets, here's the returns, just do you agree with this? They agreed with it, etc. Doesn't look good. So usually, like with Tether, for example, the audits have been suspicious because it actually was official auditors, unlike this. It's official auditors, but in the past, sometimes the auditing firms were a little, like based in the Cayman Islands or the Caribbean. Do they have any credibility? It's not like a big like KPMG or PwC audit. It's like a minor auditing firm. These auditors are not even real auditors, let alone be official auditors from small rinky-dink companies. So that is definitely not good. And then they put out this letter about 5 days ago on their website. Due to the current crypto winter and general problematic economic situation, we are forced to hedge our virtual assets into real and sustainable assets. Therefore, with immediate effect, we will restructure yield nodes into yield nodes pro. The repeated blocking of exchanges like Binance and Changely, which we are both still blocked, resulting in difficulty in lending our assets. I think they're saying they can't just put their assets on Binance and take advantage of the staking programs on there, or even just trade their assets on Binance, or they can't lend their assets on Binance-related platforms. So that's a problem there. In addition, they say there are constant attacks on our coins combined with just ridiculous never-ending statements that we are a scam. We have shown through transparency and audits that we do a decent good job as a team. However, we see that this is repeated, undermined by players on the market who only wish to gamble. That sounds like a reference to Alex Mashinsky, and Celsius going under gives them a bad name, maybe. Who knows? All this leads to the fact that we must realign our strategy in the direction of decenemy, I think it's pronounced, basically. So this basically means that they're changing their investment strategy with the funds they have. They're not going to invest it in virtual assets, crypto-related stuff like masternodes. Instead, they're going to put it into physical assets that hopefully have the same return. So the assets that they are going to invest in: 2 hubs in Germany and Malta, a solar power plant in Germany, solar power plant in Italy and Germany, a solar power plant in Iran. That's not good, and that's highly illegal from the U.S. and those places. This is a Malta company, for example. Keep in mind, so Malta sort of has a history of making kind of investing in out-of-the-box industries or out-of-the-box type investments. So that's why they're in that one. Also, let's see, an HTC plant in Germany, a music publishing and streaming service in Germany as well, an electric car charging project, various residential, commercial real estate properties. So a diverse range of physical assets they're now going to invest the money into, and the value of these assets amounts to well over 300 million euros. So well over 300 million USD dollars. And then go up here. So to be able to this, we'll convert payments, the money they have made, and credit balances and yield nodes into NFTs, which gives the subscription right to share in these assets. So basically, the money you have invested in them, you can't withdraw it. I'll get to that in a sec. It'll be converted into some NFT, which is like symbolic of your ownership, for example, the amount of money you currently have. And then the NFTs can't be traded for anything just yet. The minimum interest rate will be lowered from 5% per month to 5% per quarter. So they're still expecting profitability, just not that sort of runway profitability. Then after that, they'll create a possibility for the NFTs to be traded in Q2 2023. That's 6 months from now. And then in Q4 2023, a year from now, they'll provide a portal that will allow partners to convert NFTs into equity investments and receive returns from the associate assets. So this sounds like your investments are going to be locked for probably the next year. In 6 months, the possibility for these NFTs to be traded, I can't tell if that means they can be traded into coins which you can then cash out, or if they can just be traded into other things. But it looks like it's not going to be for another year until the NFTs are officially converted, that you can officially trade the NFTs into an equity investment, which you can then cash out. But then they say there's only a pause for a few months, which is necessary for the restructuring. So I think the pause doesn't refer to the lockout period. It just refers to the amount of time they need to kind of take operations down while they sort of reinvest into those physical assets from the master nodes. But withdrawals are definitely locked. They didn't really specifically state that here. If they did, I missed it. But withdrawals are locked, it looks like, for over a year. They've said no one is going over. It's not going to be an exit scam because the team is fully doxed. Please refrain from threatening staff. Obviously, when this sort of stuff happens, people always get heated. Then they say we, the management team, clearly communicated the risks, and you signed agreements agreeing to those. I mean, that's kind of blaming the investors, the retail investors. Obviously, in the fine print, there's always going to be language, that sort of stuff, but you can't really blame the retail investors for that there. I'm not really sure that sentence was fully needed. And then obviously, so those stuff on that letter on the website, that came out about 5 or 6 days ago. Then obviously a lot of these YouTube videos started coming out. It says 4 days ago. This guy, James Pelton, I mentioned, he makes pretty good videos. He apparently has $200,000 locked away in there. He didn't seem to be in too much of a bad mood here. He seemed pretty calm. I don't know, maybe he's a little overly optimistic about the fact that he's going to get his money back, or a good portion of his money back. I'd be in kind of a bad mood right now, but he seemed pretty optimistic, so good for him. And then who is the team, just so you can see. So, they're fully DOX. I don't know why their last names aren't on here. It could be, I don't know, it could be they have Russian sounding last names in this day and age. That, I guess, doesn't sound good. It could be they just are a little hesitant to have their full last names on there, even though their LinkedIn profiles are there. They've done interviews, so that's good. So they're, fully out in the open. The LinkedIn page, they're kind of based in, it looks like they have Hong Kong and mostly Malta elements. I guess their last names are here, so I take that back. At least the CEO, he has his last name, so Stefan Herman. So let's look at the background. So see, this isn't bad. Obviously, you kind of want big company experience in this here. It's just a little more trustworthy. It means they come from, big corporate backgrounds. Obviously, none of these companies you've heard of, Marketer, Exceptional Media, etc. It could just be it's Malta, it's Europe. You haven't really heard of the companies there, especially if they're small or medium-sized companies. So this isn't a negative, but you do kind of prefer big company projects for big company experience for a high-risk project like this. Here's the COO, Eurus S. He still doesn't have his last name. He's the same thing. Advisor for Yield Limited, owner director of Ramardo Limited. So again, just not really big company experience, but at least they're out DOX. And then also the CEO wrote that he has 25% of his personal funds in yield notes. So he said this as a positive, like, look, I'm investing in it, but honestly, that was a little bit low. That kind of, well, how much do they really trust it if it's only 25%? For example, CZ, he says he has 100% of his net worth in crypto. So if he was really confident in this, I would have expected a little bit higher than 25% of his personal net worth in yield nodes. Still, some people viewed it as a positive at the time. That's Stefan right there. And that's it. So yeah, we still don't know kind of how underwater this project is. They could recover. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Let me know. Do you know anything about yield nodes? Have you had good or bad experiences investing in them? Do you think they can recover? Do you think it's a done deal? Do you think investors are going to get some of their money back, but not all? Let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll be back tomorrow with a new episode. Until then, this is Ben signing out. Catch you later.